Yeah. Everyone's coming? Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in New York City. This is the Tibet Center, Buddhist, or Kunchab Tarduling is our Tibetan name, Buddhist Meditation and Study Center located in New York City and northern New Jersey. And this is our twice weekly Dharma presentation, specifically topics from the Lam Rim, the graded stages of the path to enlightenment. We're under the direction of Chabje Ling Rinpoche and the subdirection of Rato Khensa Thupten Lundap, also known as Venerable Nicholas Freeland. All the prayers we'll be saying on our website in the FAQ section. All the information you need about us is on the website. So no need to do anything else. So we'll start. Prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this. Seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Self is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known as truth, for there is no deception in transcendent knowledge. The mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Generating bodhicitta, or refuge in bodhisattva vow, we say the verses 3 times. We'll get him, because I'm not going to teach until he comes in. Yeah. You're late. Seriously.
Sorry.
With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So as is traditional, we did the Heart Sutra to get rid of obstacles, and now we say one round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, who symbolizes great compassion, to set the motivation. Motivation. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So, what's on the menu tonight? Moo gai pan, no chicken and mushrooms. The main topic tonight will be death. But beforehand, whether we like it or not, we have to talk about it. We talked about politics, which was before class. But before that, this wonderful book, Essence of the Heart Sutra, written by His Holiness Most of it is about the Heart Sutra and about the wisdom element of the path. But the back part, it does a very good presentation of bodhicitta. So we'll skip around a few different spots because the whole thing is very long. But it's relatively short, but it's too long for a segment in class. So, but anyway, if you want to get your hands on something, it's a good all-purpose book. This is pretty good, and it's edited and translated by Thupten Jinpa, so it's good quality reading. Yeah. So this is page 139, Generating Bodhicitta. And he does the both. Two methods, which are, Mark will tell us.
Changing self and others.
Exactly.
Sevenfold cause and effect.
Excellent. There's two. I could take your pick. So a gradual approach, he says. Zolny says, we need a gradual approach to our spiritual training in order to make progress in our spiritual and mental development toward a highly disciplined and deeply realized state of mind. So it comes about gradually. It's not an instant thing, as the advertisements in the spiritual newspapers say. No. We see this gradual process of development everywhere, both in the physical world and also in the inner realm of the mind. In fact, gradual development appears to be a natural law, a corollary as it were, to the law of cause and effect. Okay? This gradual mental transformation and spiritual development must take place on the basis of what Buddhists call the union of method and wisdom, or upaya and prajna, or male and female, as they sometimes do in the tantras. So wisdom is female. The men are stupid, but they're active. No, men are compassionate. In one way, we could take that too far. But the Heart Sutra is a wonderful presentation of wisdom, and we've examined it in depth. Now let's pay some attention to method, specifically with regard to developing compassion. And compassion is what? The wish to extract suffering from everyone, free everyone from suffering. It's a technical term, not just a general warm, fuzzy feeling. So, in order for the wisdom to serve as a completely effective antidote to both the mental afflictions and the subtle obscurations to knowledge, in other words, becoming omniscient, one must have the complementary factor of bodhicitta, the altruistic intention to attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Bodhicitta, the method aspect of the path, is a critical factor necessary to attain the omniscient mind of full enlightenment, the mind of a fully awakened Buddha. And the meditation posture, for instance, in Zen has what? This, like this, right? So compassion is the right hand, wisdom the left. The compassion is based on wisdom. That's a little, it's hard to remember, that's a little tip. You think so, right? Fa Yun used to teach that, exactly. Furthermore, it can be said that bodhicitta is the defining characteristic of a bodhisattva, or what the Heart Sutra calls a noble son or noble daughter. Now you could take that as an argument, because noble usually means having seen emptiness directly. It has nothing to do with your lineage, but stretching it a little. But a full bodhisattva, a noble bodhisattva, has the direct realization of emptiness, and that's how you get on the first bhumi of the 10 levels of bodhisattvas. We all know. So one may have, as holiness continues, a deep, valid understanding of emptiness, and one may have attained freedom from cyclic existence. You're an arhat, you're out, good. You can relax, but not too long, because the Buddhas will get rid of you and they'll throw you out back onto the path. So, however, as long as one lacks bodhicitta and one is not a bodhisattva, and we talked about this a lot of time, it's also an energy component. In Tibetan medical texts, they identify a bodhicitta pulse. So it has an energy component that's different, even with regard to your physical body. In order to generate this bodhicitta, it is not adequate to merely wish compassionately that other sentient beings be happy and free of suffering. And then we all do that. That's very nice. There's nothing wrong. It is necessary to have a deep sense of commitment that I myself will take up the responsibility to free all other beings from suffering. I myself. Is that an ego thing? It's a debate? Well, yes, if they're a direct, yes. But a person, you don't have to be a bodhisattva, you don't have to have an experience of emptiness. No, you can just on your own without even just have a warm feeling and can I free people? Well, Buddha, you have to be a Buddha, then you start. But so, yeah, in order to generate such powerful compassion, one first needs to develop, here's the key, a sense of intimacy and empathy with other sentient beings. Without true intimacy, genuine bodhicitta cannot arise. We will examine what this intimacy entails below. Do you think it entails a feeling? I think you have to feel it. That's my personal thing. It has to be like scoped it out logically, but there should be some feeling, the mother, the son, the daughter, closeness and something, I think. It's not just mechanical. The great Indian masters of Nalanda Monastery set out two principal methods for generating bodhicitta, 7-point cause and effect, and XSO, exchange of self and others. I've seen that now on XSO, and they go on.
What's the abbreviation?
X, S, and 0, and O.
Okay.
Exchange, self, and others. Everything is now an acronym, so this is the latest acronym. Maybe there'll be tattoos with that on. I don't know.
XSO app.
XSM, X. I can't even say it. Too old to talk anymore. Goodbye. So anyway, and he keeps mentioning in the cause and effect method, which is a little too long for this time that we have, but talks about genuine intimacy with beings. And that's something you develop. All of this develop. It's not something you think and it happens. You think in the right steps, the right meditations. Not just, I want to be a Buddha. That's what I do. Don't do that. I'm still here. So a sense of equanimity towards all beings, and that's you use in both methods. You have to start with equanimity. It's like the ground gets cleared so you can plant. Something like that. In our normal everyday state of mind, our emotions and attitude towards others fluctuate wildly. We like, we don't like, he's okay, no he's not, on and on. Sometimes in the same day. We feel close to some people and distant from others. Our feelings, even for a single person, may move from one extreme to the other as some small circumstance changes. But if we have not purged our mind of the afflictions, our everyday sense of closeness is inevitably grounded in delusion, in attachment. That's a big point, I think. What do you think? You have to... Closeness grounded in attachment can actually obstruct our generation of true compassion. We like this person, but that's not great compassion. No matter how someone treats you, you still have to have an underlying attitude of they're suffering and I want to remove it.
What is that attachment?
Not attachment. Did I say attachment? Underlying sense.
No, I mean the thing that obscured the...
You parent to son, for instance.
Attachment.
It's attachment, it's compassion, they'll do anything, but the kids, even kids that are like crazy, the parents, oh no, he's not that bad, no, things like that. It's good, they even say that motherhood, as strong as it is, and it's still tinged, sort of, influenced a little bit by possessiveness, by attachment. Whereas you should feel the way a mother feels toward their child, toward everybody. That's not something that comes overnight, really. You gotta work at it. The monks actually do this. They'll sit in their room and meditate on this. Thus, we begin by cultivating equanimity. Then, having cultivated equanimity, we cultivate a sense of closeness to others, grounded in sound reasoning rather than attachment. So that's the whole training. Attachment comes naturally. You like people who likes to you. We'll do their best. Oh, I remember when he did this. I got to help him. But then there's our elected officials. So what do we do with them? We brought it on with our karma. It's your fault, Darren. So, equalizing, he goes on about the method, which takes too long. Got to check the time. You know me, I'm paranoid about time. exchanging self and others. Another method, he says on page 143, equalizing and exchanging oneself and others involves cultivating a deep recognition of the fundamental sameness of oneself and others. In fact, as far as the natural wish to seek happiness and to overcome suffering is concerned, oneself and others are absolutely identical, and that they give us all the time. We should cultivate the thought, just as I myself have the right to fulfill the basic aspiration to be happy and overcome suffering, so too do others. Just as I have the potential to fulfill this aspiration, so do others. The difference between oneself and all others lies only in number. One case refers to but a single individual and the other to countless being. We then ask, therefore, whose need is greater? Where do we put our emphasis? Me or the entire creation, or whatever? And often, when we think about our own interests versus the interests of others, we have a notion that the two are unrelated. This is key. This is not the case in many, many ways. It's not the case at all. Even quantum physics now shows the unity. Since everyone is part of a community, a complex social fabric, any negative event in an individual's life impacts the entire community. Someone gets COVID, everyone gets it. We want to make it as gross as that. Likewise, anything that affects a community affects each member individually as well. Someone has a great big parade on Labor Day, it affects the whole community. I went to the first one ever. It was so calm and peaceful.
Really?
Yeah, because I was living in the Flatbush at the time. Oh boy, Flatbush man, yes. Often when we think about our own interests versus the others, blah, 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 since everyone's part of the community, we got that. Furthermore, consider the following line of reasoning. If by perpetually harboring the self-cherishing thoughts, we could fulfill our self-centered aspirations to achieve our own happiness, then because we have done this ceaselessly since our birth and over countless lifetimes, we surely would have succeeded by now. If by being self-centered and taking care of ourselves that we could attain ultimate happiness, we would have done it, because that's all we've done up until now, until we met Buddhism. How come we're not Buddha? Well, that's why. The method of always looking out for number one, way down deep in the mind, is what's blocking us. That's what he's claiming. No, we never accept anything. We have to try it out. But of course, we have not succeeded. We must therefore conclude that using our minds in our accustomed self-centered ways will never bring us ultimate happiness or liberate even our own cherished self from suffering. So do we have ultimate happiness or not? You're never unhappy? Good for you. And then he quotes Shantideva in the guide to the Bodhisattva Karavatara. If you had, Shantideva says, if you had in some remote past accomplished acts such as this, other than the bliss of the Buddha's perfection, the situation of today would not be. I mean, you wouldn't be in the same position as you are now if you would have thought of others first. And then there's a lot of other verses you can remember. All happiness comes from thinking of others. All suffering comes from thinking of yourself. The Buddhas do one thing, the rest of us do the other. And that's that. Yeah.
How does bodhicitta help eradicate cognitive oscillations?
He blocks to omniscience.
Yeah.
It's a strong, empowered emptiness meditation. Bodhicitta, the mind is soaked, as Chung used to say, soaked in bodhicitta, like a sponge. So that mind sits down and does all the emptiness yoga, whatever it's supposed to do, and that realization is stronger and stronger. They're direct realizations. You would say, yes, direct, all the way up 1 to 10, but they're stronger. And by the 7th, 8th, and 9th step, the 8th, 9th, and 10th step, rather, you really have pretty close. You're the noble, really higher up bodhisattva. I forgot the name they give them. Something, but those three, very little is left, except the imprints coming at you, and you're not fooled by the appearances of inherent existence, but they're still there.
Yeah.
And that's blocking your omniscience. Waste time, I don't know. Clouds the screen, I have no idea, I'm just imagining. But the thing is, as the bodhicitta empowers the emptiness meditation, whereas our hats are out of samsara, but they don't have bodhicitta, so it's not strong enough to get rid of all these residual imprints of seeing things as inherently existent. That's what they say. Forget, you know what?
It blocks omniscience.
Blocks omniscience. You're everything, but you're still not event. And then all of a sudden, simultaneous and direct knowledge of all phenomena and their mode of being in one thought, in one mental event. If a Buddha has a mental event, I don't know. Someone who gets to be a Buddha, hurry up and write back. And take care of me. Me first, the hell with me. Hey. So anyway, we'll have to leave this in a few minutes, but Nagarjuna says, and he's quoting the Ratnavali, the precious garland, that for those who wishing to attain the omniscient state of a Buddha, it is essential to uphold three fundamental principles: great compassion, which is the root; bodhicitta, which arises from great compassion; and the wisdom realizing emptiness, which is the key factor that complements the other two. All great beings, like Buddha Shakyamuni, have recognized the shortcomings of self-cherishing and have recognized the benefits of cultivating the thought of cherishing the well-being of others. In contrast, we continue to live in a cycle of suffering that rolls on unceasingly like waves in the ocean. Even before one wave ends, another arises. Have you had days like this? How about all the time? There's always something. And they didn't do this, and then that, and then that. Enough. Let me jump out the window and end it all. No, that's not the answer. You can't end the mind. It goes with you. So, Alan Wallace, the big thing, said, a friend of his had a suicide. He said they just can't take their mind anymore. And they think by committing suicide they're going to get rid of it. But you don't. It's a tragedy. Someone tonight we're praying for is suicide. Although we complain about suffering, we are caught in this cycle because we have entrusted our entire well-being to this extremely self-centered attitude, and because we have allied ourselves with the traitorous attitude of grasping at self-existence. Again, you come back to emptiness, I think.
Tony, I
Yeah.
got a question on the suicide.
To the whole crowd.
I know we don't have like the direct knowledge to know fully, but if someone commits suicide who is schizophrenic because they're tired of the voices in their mind,
Right, that's exactly what people do.
Is that though? Would you think more of a biological sort of affliction in this life, like this like negative karma that is like causing great confusion, or is this like this guy is going to be born with like two heads next or something like?
It depends on the individual, but the person is doing it because they think it's going to bring happiness. And Alan Wallace went on a long thing about, I can't remember what he said, but he says it often. They just want to get out from their mind. They can't control it. It's harassing them. It doesn't have to be schizophrenic. It could be just overburdened with troubles and seeing no way out. But they don't understand their true situation. The mind is not physical. It's going to take another life. Now, some other good karma could come at the end. They did something good, and that ripens all of a sudden, and they get into a good life. I hope.
I would hope too.
You know, but I really feel for those people because there's nothing worse than that, having a claustrophobic situation with your mind you can't get out of. It's bad enough being stuck in your apartment with creepy people all around. Could you imagine your mind is this situation? No, it comes with you. That's why we come here. I mean, try and broadcast this information. Yeah, it's terrible. No. The worst suffering is the mind. You could always dull physical pain with opiates or whatever. You know, man, no, but what do you do with your mind? They give you tranquilizers, but usually knock you out. And some people it doesn't work. You know. It's very sad. The person we pray for tonight is a psychiatrist that committed suicide. Friend of Federico's. He's very upset. Young woman. So if all good hearts can reach them, somehow pull her out of it. Be born as a rich little baby somewhere. A human Park Avenue poodle. It's sad. You know, that's where, that also thinking that way helps our bodhicitta. That's what we're after ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The forces of the Bodhisattva shine through.
Look at how Bloomfield Robb suffered.
Yeah.
Close to it. The guy became more and more ill.
Yeah.
He couldn't put together a sentence after a while. A nice man, you know. Yeah, what do we do? Still haven't found the answer. If I do, and I put it in a pill, would you buy it? The root of all suffering lies in two powerful forces, self-grasping, the deluded grasping at an intrinsically real self, which springs on the whole topic of emptiness, which we'll never leave alone here, and the self-centered thought that cherishes only one's own welfare. So if you really use your head, we can't do anything without other people. The room we're in, we can go on. And when we were born, we needed our parents. We couldn't even eat on our own, you know. So, let alone potty training. I have to bring that up, you know me. So, unless we actively seek to perfect our understanding of emptiness and our compassion for others, this dominion will remain as hard as unchanging as a diamond. The situation that we're in is never going to change. You got to do something. That's the whole thing. You just can't sit back and wish it to happen, because we did that already. I did it. It doesn't happen. I'm complaining. So, we can't escape death. That's the part we're up to. I'll do a little of this, then go back to Nagarjuna's advice through Geshe Sopa, but basically the three principles. Death is inevitable. You might as well get used to it. And it's the one thing in Buddhism. You're going to die. What are you going to do about it? That's the basic question that they'll ask people who, what about Buddhism? And then you expand on that. So don't deny that you're going to die. But inside we don't think we're going to die. We're going to be around, you know, and I think I need to get new drapes. Yeah, I'm 95 years old. I got to get new drapes. Come on. But people do that. They buy new cars. They're dropping dead. They can't walk. They get in the car, but they're buying a new car. Then I'm going to Florida, the elephant graveyard. So, this lead line is pretty good. It's very sad that we have to do it. Buddha himself said that this is the main Lamrim text we've been using, practicing the path. And this is page, they never do the title page numbers, and I get peed off about it, 103. Buddha himself said all sentient beings down to the tiniest crawling insects have the potential to become enlightened. Oh good, some good news. I like this. In his Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Shantideva writes that even if beings such as flies and mosquitoes have the potential to become enlightened, what need is there to mention human beings with perfect human rebirths? As we said in the last chat, not enough to be a human being, yet be a human being in a good situation. If we accept, as human beings we're able to express ourselves and understand others. We possess the wisdom that is able to discriminate right from wrong in different degrees, because some people don't. And we have been born with the 8 leisures and the 10 endowments, which we discussed. Thus, we find ourselves in an extremely good position to complete the path to enlightenment. Understanding this, we should strive to take the essence of our good fortune by applying ourselves in the practices common to the small, medium, and great scopes, and learning the graduated steps of the path so that we do not make mistakes. As we discussed, in order to develop the basis to train in the great scope, we must create the foundation of the medium scope and, of course, the basic scope. Of course, it's a unity. It's not like this is that and that's all I want. It flows, and it flows into Tantra. As we've said 10,000 times, if you were a real true bodhisattva, then His Holiness says, when you have the qualifications, you must practice Tantra, because that's the quickest way to become enlightened in this lifetime. If you're born from a womb, which we are, unless somebody was issued by the government, I don't know, but that's it. So, you must. He said, it's really amazing. So, and he just goes on and puts it out there.
Is there a specific reason why we're all not studying Tantra then?
Because we're not qualified. You could read the books, but unless you have renunciation, of course, you have with renunciation really to practice any spiritual level. right view, if you don't have direct, at least to start training, a strong conceptual knowledge. And of course, bodhicitta, because Tantra does what? It manipulates energies. Bodhicitta brings a certain energy into the system. So you can do it all you want, advertise, you could attain one-pointedness of mind and have miraculous powers, but you're not going to go to highest yoga tantra and all the results that you get from that without bodhicitta. So that's a claim that Tibetan Buddhists make. I don't know. It's very complicated tantra. It takes a very smart mind, and it takes one-pointedness. You have to, if you look at it carefully, you have to have shamatha, because you're sitting on a visualization is 40 minutes, all day, something. How could you do that if the mind is like ours? But a person that has calm abiding also has a physical pliancy. The body is supple. It does what it's told. It's very happy. Not only that, it's happy. And it can be manipulated. There's a lot of work to do. But you can read books and talk in Starbucks and people think you're sharp and you can collect money. I get 10%. No, seriously, it's a big thing. The 4 misconceptions, the 4 white seals. This is 104. Why is it that our minds are occupied by the fact of our present existence, unable to generate the thought of the importance of future lifetimes? What is the obstacle hindering us? Yeah, well, tell me. Next week, tune in and we'll tell. No. We are bound to concern for this lifetime alone by the thought grasping at true existence, by the innate sense that we are going to live forever. Well, we do. Our mind does, but not the rest of it. And the situation changed. So, in order to eliminate this innate grasping at a permanent mode of existence, we need to focus on the awareness of the fact that we ourselves are, in fact, subject to impermanence and death. Buddha summarized our misconception of the world we live in and of ourselves into what he called the 4 wrong views. They are as follows. Holding what is in reality impermanent to be permanent, and that's a big deal, because it's reflexive. You don't realize the things, we won't go on to just the gross impermanence is enough. Your car falls apart, your body falls apart, your house, if you don't maintain it. So there's things changing. You can get scientific, go moment by moment, Nicky snaps his fingers, everything is changing. Well, that's true. But deal with the gross first. Second, holding what in reality is impure to be pure. We won't go on with that, but usually they point out that when we're infatuated with someone, oh, they're so great, their body's pure, they're angels, etc. But actually, doctors will tell you something else about your body that you don't like, holding what in reality is the nature of suffering to be true happiness. Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream is not true happiness? No. I'm on the fence, really. Test me. DeFaro's Pizza, I think he's gone now. It's true. So, and also, holding what in reality is essence-less to have essence, and that's a big thing. Our minds reflexively think, this is that, that's this, and there's something, as Nick would, something that's really a microphone in there, but you take it apart, it's not. It's true, but we instinctively think that way. Just bear that in mind. So, these wrong perceptions ensure that we focus primarily on the activities of this one brief lifetime. Of course, that's what we do. And create obstacles to developing the thought that seeks the benefit of the infinite future lifetimes, as Geshe Jamspal would say, remember? Future lives are longer. So they're more important. He's right. I hope he's reborn high, I really do. Seeing these 4 misconceptions of the minds of sentient beings, Buddha taught their antidote, the 4 white seals, and the 4 seals are, all compounded phenomena are impermanent. Everything put together by cause and effect is moving along and is going to go out of business. All contaminated phenomena are suffering. What does that mean? The whole world is created by what? Noah's Ark, the garden? No, by our karma, our collective karma. Our collective karma, we did things not knowing emptiness. So it's very good acts. We did something very charitable, we got a lot of money, or we did this, and get nice houses, all these good acts, but under the sky of inherent existence, under the atmosphere of that. So in a way, it's suffering. It's contaminated. Not that bad. All phenomena are selfless, and nirvana is peace. Sounds like the 4 things that make you a Buddhist, right? The 5 things, whatever it is. No, 4 things, yeah. Of the 4 misconceptions, perceiving what is impermanent to be permanent is most harmful. And that's a very good place to start meditating on emptiness. Because we trip over impermanence all the time. We could see it blatantly, but we don't pay attention. But it's a good way to say, wait a minute, this is constantly changing. And you yourself see what you thought was terrific 2 years ago. Now, ooh, what was I thinking? Goodwill, boom, you know. Some people do that with their face. They really do. Well, I don't like my eyelids. Somebody in Jersey is getting things done on their eyelid. Very upset. Nobody's looking at you. You're 57 years old. Get out of here. And that's a guy. No. Okay, this view blocks the awareness of impermanence and death from our minds entirely. Yes, it does. We're fascinated. We're captivated. So we don't want to be uncaptivated. We seem to like it. Although intellectually we know that we will in fact die eventually, because we are so habituated to our misconceptions about impermanence and death, generally in our day-to-day lives we have the feeling that we won't die today. This guy hasn't been on the subway. One trip on the subway settles that. I'm leaving. So, as a result, we make absolutely no effort to develop the thought that seeks the benefit of future lifetimes, let alone others' benefit. We are fooled by our innate grasping at permanence, a simple thing. Therefore, the first of the 4 white seals is establishing impermanence. Very simple. So the thought will come. You hear it in class, and then it comes up. When these things start to come up on their own, you're getting realization. All of a sudden, you're making a sandwich and you're thinking of impermanence. That's good. I'll take mayo on it. Thank you. There are 2 types of impermanence, gross and subtle. Anything gross, I'm in line with. The awareness that we will not live forever and that we are definitely going to die is the awareness of gross impermanence. Without this awareness, all the activities of body, speech, and mind will serve this one brief lifetime alone. I think now we got the idea. We're not totally in on it. We're not going after permanence, but still there's traces and there's habit patterns that we have to get rid of. Not this one lifetime alone. All the activities of body, spirit, and mind will function only so to accomplish our own well-being. However, in actual fact, without depending on others, no happiness can come about in our lives at all. And he's shifting back and forth now from impermanence to self-cherishing. Our grasping at permanence encourages a very narrow way of thinking that becomes the basis for much unhappiness and suffering. He's saying that you're assuming everything's going to be around forever, and you start thinking along those lines. It's creating a lot of false thoughts about reality, and it's bound to explode on you. I think he's saying that. What do you think? Anyone? Darren, enough. We heard enough from you, All right. No matter how much you talk about liberation to an individual who believes that he or she will live forever, no matter how much you talk about enlightenment, you're uttering empty words. What is that question? Furthermore, this person will be much more easily inclined to engage in non-virtuous activities, much less inclined to engage in virtue. In contrast, someone who has some basic awareness of impermanence and death and some concern for his or her future lives but lacks full understanding of the reality of these things will undertake virtuous actions with laziness. They'll do it. No, I should, but that's all right. I think it's better than the other one.
Can you repeat that sentence?
Okay. In contrast, someone who has some basic awareness of impermanence and death and some concern for his or her future lives but lacks full understanding, and is that a strong of the reality of these things, will undertake virtuous activities with laziness. For example, at the end of his or her life, after having been totally distracted by worldly affairs, this kind of person may then recall what is coming next and try to engage in virtue from that point forward. They get scared. They write a check to foundations and all that. They do something. All right, that's good too. What are the shortcomings of not thinking about impermanence and death? What are the shortcomings of not considering the fact that we are not going to live forever? If we do not train our minds in these topics, we will not be inspired to engage in virtuous activities benefiting future lifetimes. And even if we do engage in virtuous activities, they will be comparatively weak. You're not going at it with full force. And that's how you create a happy life the next time and the next time. A happy life with a whole set, cast of characters, movie set, environment, all that, by doing something positive now. But if you're blocked from doing that, you're not going to get much of a result in the future. But you have to believe in this, in cause and effect. So what's the key to unblocking that? Someone, I don't believe, I don't see it, how do I know I did this? 10 million years from now I'll get that. Well, then prove its non-existence. The Buddhist card that they pull out all the time. You can't see it, you don't know, all right, we'll prove that it doesn't exist. And until you do, you have to at least accept it as a hypothesis. So on anything, clairvoyance, the miraculous powers, all this sense of time, prove it differently. So that's where logic comes in. This is holiness repeats a lot of times, especially at the Mind Life conferences. We prove non-existence for it. Then you can accept. Oh, there's no karma. All right. So that's it. Even if we attempt to practice Dharma, we'll be unable to persevere. And without recalling impermanence and death, all of our delusional ways of thinking and the actions that results from them will increase. The benefit of generating the realization that we will not live forever, and particularly realizing that we could die this very day, is that it inspires a sense of urgency in our Dharma practice. That doesn't mean you sit in a room for 20 hours without eating. No, you just bring it up in your mind and compare the things of the world with what you've heard in class or what you've read and stuff. And that's it. That's practicing Dharma. We've been able to direct our thoughts and actions toward the benefit of future lifetimes by way of the practices of refuge and cause and effect. Very basic. Cause and effect is tough because it doesn't occur in front of you. I mean, if it did, you'd know. I pour sodium in water, there's a big flame. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. But other things, I gave money to a beggar and something. I didn't get anything good. In fact, I got pushed on the tracks. No. Yeah, and this is reality in our city so far. Doesn't occur where the senses can verify it most of the time. So it takes some sort of logic and not really a leap of faith, but logic and thinking it out. What does cause things? You remember the thing we always repeat, His Holiness was at a conference and a physicist shows that this particle does this and then does that. We don't know what it causes it. Maybe there's no reason for it doing this. His Holiness says there has to be a cause. Otherwise it would always be there or never there. So that's a good way to direct your logic. If it's sometimes there and sometimes not, it's caused. If it's always there, it's always there. It's never there, never there. So that should take a load off your thinking a little bit. So relax, have a snack, light a cigar, no way does it. Not only are we able to secure the benefit of higher rebirth in this way for ourselves, we become a guiding force for others. So by helping ourselves. So he's saying, what else is he putting here? Even if we have a field that did not produce a good harvest last year, and regardless of our doubt about this year's harvest, we still make the effort to plow and plant seeds. In other words, we may not see results right away. But we know by logic that, all right, this crop failed, but I'm planting another one. First of all, I have to, In the same way, even we do not have the total realization of the recognition of perfect human rebirth or the total realization of impermanence and death. It says in the text that as long as we have positive forms of doubt with regard to these topics, as long as we have a feeling for them, we still have the basis to accomplish both the temporary and ultimate benefits. You may not understand emptiness, you may not understand this, but at least, this is starting to make sense. That cracks samsara. That's the beginning, according to everyone, including Nikki Vreeland, who was an abbot of a monastery. Even if we are fortunate enough to find the perfect human rebirth, blessed with the 18 attributes, the 8 leisures and 10 endowments, which we all have, by the way. Forget it, we have, everyone in the room has that, right? it is still possible that we will not be able to persevere in Dharma practice. Why is this so? It is mostly because of the feeling that I won't die. This very strong sense of grasping at I won't die is our greatest downfall. Its only antidote is cultivating the realization of impermanence and death, and understanding that this is the entry point to the path of virtue. So if it's sitting there, it's blocking you. It's the reason why I'd rather watch television or something than study a little or something, all that. That's the block. Even though you know in the back of your mind, I got to do something positive. That's a good start. But then the inertia has to be broken. So, to think that meditation on impermanence and death and perfect human birth are only for beginners and needn't be emphasized in our daily contemplations is completely wrong. Even His Holiness doesn't. Constant reflection on these two topics is an important form of meditation at the beginning of the path, the middle of the path, and at the very end of the spiritual path. In the beginning, the meditation enables us to enter the path of virtue and the path of Dharma practice. So that's how it's good in the beginning. What about the middle? In the middle, these points of contemplation free us from the traps of our own laziness. I want to stay here, though. I don't want to be free. That's all I got. And encourages us to persevere in our practice. In the end, these points ensure that we reap the fruits of all our efforts. For these reasons, we should contemplate these topics on a daily basis. And if you do any sadhanas or any basic things, Guru Puja, so it's all built in. Most of the Tibetan Buddhist prayers have all these elements built in. So even if you're going da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're a little distracted, somehow the mind's affected a little. So that's the reason why you repeat every day. So Chungla used to make the promise to repeat the Guru Puja every day, to recite it every day to some of his students. That's your admission to class, he would say. Well, things like that. What did he do again? When we taught the Kuno Lama's Bodhisattva poem that goes on about the vast as the ocean, deep as the ocean, vast as the sky, something like that. The heavens, it's the way Gareth translated that. But he said, you have to read it 10 times if you want to come to class. So it's just like 110 verse, something like that. So I read it 20, figuring I'd get a better seat. But it didn't work out. No, but do you remember that when he taught that? I think one thing he taught in your house on 5th Street, do you remember that? You had a seminar in your house Saturday. Yeah. Saturday morning. All day Saturday, as a matter of fact. Yeah. You don't remember?
I don't remember that.
I remember that's when the first time I went to the Bonnie Bonnets. This was in the 80s.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah. What's this? Is Cavalco on here? Oh, Marie Chetzler. You know who that is? That's and Marianne's fellow nun. She's a nun, but she gets sent home. We'll do this later. Oh boy, another friend. Maria Montenegro was the name before for a nun, before she was a nun. Okay. If we must fear death, I'm skipping along, page 107, we should fear it because of the loss of the opportunity to make our lives worthwhile. Because of the loss of opportunity to subdue our minds, that's why we should fear death. Because we had a good chance now to create a very good position on, and also be able to benefit others eventually. We should fear death because we have not been able to purify the negative karma that will bring a lower rebirth, and because we have not been able to accumulate the positive karma that will secure a higher rebirth. This is the kind of fear of death generated by practitioners of the small scope. If, while we are alive, we reflect daily on the subtle impermanence of all of the things that we are connected to and on the changes that take place in everything from moment to moment, this too can counteract our obsessions with material belongings or with our friends and loved ones. Remember, everything you got's going, so you're not taking it with you. Although somehow, the concept of the Lebrun with incarnate lamas, we save their things and then give them to the next incarnation. So they send it ahead. Wait till FedEx hears this. No, but that's the truth. It's going to go anyway, so don't go obsessing about it.
That's for us to draw them.
That's right. That's what we're supposed to do. In fact, we're really impatient about it now. We're tapping our feet. Come on, will you? You know, very impatient. If also due to familiarity with death and impermanence, as they are taught in the Lamrim, we are motivated to engage in spiritual practice while we are still alive, then, at the time of death, we have no reason to fear it. And that is a Kadampa statement, we'll mention it. It is said that for the very best spiritual practitioners, death is a joyful experience. That's the tantric practice. They know death, and they know that's the time you could actually get fully enlightened if you could recognize the changes going through, which most people just go through the Bardo state unaware. The clear light dawn that goes right away, that's it's like nothing. I missed my stop. Oh no, that's me. So, those of medium ability have no fear of death when it happens, and even the least of practitioners die without any sense of regret. If we fear death while we are alive, and as a result do our best to make our time positive and meaningful, when death suddenly descends upon us, we will certainly have one of these three experiences. So also the Kadampa statement is we should fear death now, not at the time of death. We should be peaceful and joyful at the time of death. Chung's advice at the time of death to everyone, you could do your sadhana, you could do this, you could that. If you're very good, that'll work. Otherwise, just think compassion. Wherever I go, maybe of use to someone. May be able to. That never fails. So that's his word. So soon we'll be able to test it out, because who knows? Where are you eating out tonight? It may happen tomorrow morning. So first of all, praying this three-jewel sutra for Eleonora Kavalka, what's his name? Federico's good friend, a psychiatrist. And also Marie Chutzela, friend of, died of cancer. She was sent home to him at Ken Dryden, Mark Volman from the Turtles. Wow. Rick Davies, Giorgio Armani, Graham Greene. Oh, Graham Greene's gone on. What?
Actor.
Oh, the actor Graham, not the writer. And Valerie Mahafri, F-M-A-H-A-F-R-E-Y. So I hope you got all those names. It's on tape. But Marie Chatzler was a student here, then became a nun, South India, in Marianne's monastery, nunnery, and then got the diagnosis with her mother, went home to her mother in Virginia. So I don't know if Marianne even knows this, you know. Who brought it in? Lori? Thanks, Lori. So sukta recollection of the noble three jewels of those people and whoever else you want. I prostrate to the omniscient one. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with merit. He does not waste to virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit.
He is adorned with mindfulness. He blossoms with the power of the major mass. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy without long faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His grasp cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide for those who journey to the city of Nirvana. He possesses measurable wisdom. He possesses invincible confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has not seen him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the wrong desire. He is not stained by the wrong form. He is not affected by a formless rhyme. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and totally liberated from skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the nuts. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from creating. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagava, who arrives in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells in the Buddha where he speaks all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagava. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sadness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes the one to arrive at the perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is empty. It is trustworthy, and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha Vijnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with drawn palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are filled with glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity.
The protector
Who possesses great kindness,
the
omniscient teacher, the basis of ocean of merit and virtue. I prostrate with the Bhagavata, pure the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous liberating from the overruns. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to revelation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are wholly filled with merit and virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to be free.
The Buddha's virtues are
inconceivable. Dharma's virtues are inconceivable.
The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the wishes are inconceivable. May they be born in complete pure. So, 8 verses for training the mind. And it, okay, with the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings,
who surpass even the wish granted to. I will learn to hold as supreme idea. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think myself as flowers amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering with my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as life illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. Prayer for a swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Luzang, Tubuang, Dorje Chang,
Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast ways of aspirational prayers. Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, the new son of Nirmanakaya, to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full of the sage's teachings, and wish-fulfilling jewel, return to the glory of Losang Tenpe, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakara, Pranayama, Srimati Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So this concludes our little program for tonight. The next Dharma class is 2 nights from tonight, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, from our parsonage in South Orange. You're all welcome there. And there will be no Tara this Saturday. It's a non-Tara Saturday. We have So thank you for your patient listening. Good luck. Big love to all of you, and good luck.